What up, everybody? Before we get into the latest news and rumors surrounding Big Blue, I got to be honest with you. Here at Chat Sports, I run our Giants channel, and producer Patrick Seatman, that a lot of you know, runs our Vikings channel, Vikings Today by Chat Sports. And he came into work today talking big shit about how Giants fans, they don't watch the show. They're not as real as they did some skull BS. It was BS. And I'm upset about it. So help me out. Subscribe to the channel. Help us catch our Vikings channel today. I don't only want to beat them on the football field this Saturday. I also want to beat them in the sub battle. We put out videos every single day on the latest Giants news and rumors. So if you bleed Giants blue and red, go down right now and hit that big red sub button. Welcome into Giants Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. We have a loaded show today. We have big injury updates on Xavier McKinney and Adoree Jackson. We'll break that down. I also want to talk about two players on defense that have really stepped up the past couple of weeks and honestly, I believe, changed the fortune and the season for this defense. When McKinney went out, when Jackson went out, there were big shoes to fill. We'll talk about a couple players that have stepped up. Then we're going to touch on some Comeback Player of the Year odds. Somehow Saquon Barkley's not in first place. And then we have some really cool stats at the end of the show. Hope you stick around. If you haven't yet, hit that thumbs up icon for you. Boys, let's start, though, with the injury news of the day. Dan Duggan of The Athletic, best beat reporter for the Giants in the game, tweeted out that Xavier McKinney, this was on game day of this past Sunday. He said Xavier McKinney did a brief light pregame workout. He wasn't wearing anything on his left hand. Remember, he was on a guided sightseeing tour in Mexico, and somehow his hand shattered into smithereens, which seems like a positive development, even if he's still clearly favoring it. I thought that was good news that McKinney was out there pregame getting some warm-ups, but then Jordan Renan tweeted this out. The Giants held their media availability. Brian Dable was at the podium, and Renan tweeted out that Xavier McKinney will not practice this week, and cornerback Adoree Jackson was a we'll see from Brian Dable. Renan says, I wouldn't expect either to be back versus Minnesota. I think McKinney is still a week or two away. I think Adoree Jackson does actually have a chance to play this weekend. Not the best chance in the world, but I think after the Minnesota game when the Giants play the Colts and they finish up the season with the Eagles, I think Jackson will be back against the Colts. Fabian Moreau, Darnay Holmes, Nick McLeod, and Cordell Flott, they've done okay. But it's hard to replace a guy like Adoree Jackson who was on his way to having potentially a Pro Bowl season. But next man up mentality, the Giants have done a pretty good job of that. And the safety depth chart, without Xavier McKinney, we've seen more Jason Pinnock. We've seen some Dane Belton. We've seen some Tony Jefferson. And they've done, I would say, a pretty good job of filling in. And a guy that I want to talk about right now that played beautifully against the Washington Commanders is Jason Pinnock, the free agent that the Giants signed formerly of the New York Jets. In the last 4 games, Pinnock has played 269 snaps. He has been the replacement for Xavier McKinney, and he was all over the football field against the Washington Commanders. He had 5 tackles, 2 pass breakups, a QB hit, and a forced fumble. One of those pass breakups was in a really key situation late in the game. There was a deep pass in the left area of the field, and Pinnock came down and made a really good play on the ball. This is a guy that's a really good run stopper. He can help out in the pass game, but he's best when he's used inside the box, kind of like a guy like Xavier McKinney. No doubt, McKinney is better than Pinnock, but Pinnock has done a good job of stepping in and filling the big shoes that McKinney left after he left during an injury on the bye week. I still will never, ever, 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 ever forget that. The Giants, they have the worst injury news in the world. I mean, Plaxico, Xavier McKinney, David Wilson, it just goes on and on. I'll ask you, though, if you could only pick one of these guys to come back this week, who would it be? Who would you rather see on the football field? Who do you think is more important to the Giants' success? What do you say? Type 22 for Adoree Jackson. Type 29 for Xavier McKinney. I'd roll with Jackson. I think Pinnock has done a good job. I think corners are more important in a defense in today's NFL than a safety. I like Moreau. He's not a cornerback one. We've seen him get exposed, but let me hear what you say. 22 for Jackson, 29 for X-Man, Xavier McKinney. A guy that I think has honestly saved the Giants season on defense is Azeez Ojulari. He was dealing with a calf injury, then a leg injury all through camp. But since he has come back to play football for the Giants, he has absolutely been cooking, and he has changed the dynamic of this pass rush. Let's break it down, because in the last 3 games, the dude is playing like one of the best edge rushers in the National Football League. He has 9 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 15 QB pressures in the last 3 games. The dude is getting after the quarterback, and he's making it easier on the rest of his teammates. The Giants are averaging 4 sacks per game in the last 3 weeks with Azeez Ojulari. One of the problems that the Giants defense had under Wink Martindale when Ojulari was out was they couldn't generate a pass rush with just 4 defensive linemen. They had to blitz, and they had to bring 5. They had to do unique stunts, line up in weird ways on the line of scrimmage. Now they can just line up 4 and get after the quarterback when you have the type of talent they have in Thibodeau, Lawrence, Williams, and a guy like Azeez Ojulari. Look at that. 4 sacks per game in the last 3 games with Ojulari. But before that, the Giants were averaging just 1.8 sacks per game in the prior 11 games without Ojulari. He has been the MVP of the defense the past couple of weeks. He makes an offensive line stay honest when you're trying to block this front 4. Because when you have guys like Kayvon Thibodeau and Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence and Azeez Ojulari, that is one of the most talented front 4 that a football team can put out there. Thibodeau, Ojulari, Lawrence, and Williams had been on the field together for just 12 snaps prior to Sunday Night Football, and they were on the field a bunch, and they were dominant. This crew is elite. Look what they have done so far through the NFL season. In 12 games, Thibodeau, 38 QB pressures, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss, multiple forced fumbles. Dexter Lawrence is playing like an all-pro. You don't see people 350 pounds with 53 QB pressures, 6.5 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. Leonard Williams hasn't had that great of a year, but he is still a staple on this defense, and we need him to continue to produce and honestly play a little bit better than he has. Just 27 pressures, a sack and a half, and 3 tackles for loss. But Azeez Ojulari in 5 games this year, 18 pressures, 4.5 sacks. The dude has been incredible, and 2 tackles for loss. Type those 51s down in the comments section. Show our guy Azeez Ojulari some love. He's been a difference maker, because when you have Thibodeau and Ojulari, you can't slide protect to Thibodeau's side. Then when you have Lawrence and sexy Dexter Lawrence, and Leonard Williams in the middle, that's a tough unit to block, and we've seen that in the past 3 games. This defense has been special, and it's a credit to Ojulari getting back healthy. Drop those 51s, his jersey number, down in the comments section. Before we get to more news and rumors, injury updates on Kayvon Thibodeau, and some cool stats and meaningful stats as to why the Giants are able to start stacking some wins, I want to give a shout out to Rocket Money, our awesome sponsor. Cancel unnecessary subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/Giants now. The app shows you all your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You may even find out you've been double charged for a subscription. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do is press cancel, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. View all your subscriptions on one screen. Stay on top of upcoming bills, and let us, Rocket Money, cancel unwanted subscriptions for you. Get rid of useless subscriptions with Rocket Money now. Go to rocketmoney.com/Giants. Now, optimize your finances with Rocket Money. I'm doing it, and I'm saving big time bucks over here. Get hooked up with them. The link is in the comments and description. One more time, that's rocketmoney.com/Giants now. I wanted to show these tweets from Nick Filato, an awesome film guy on Giants Twitter. Give him a follow. He also does a podcast. Good stuff over there. He's really, really good. This was really awesome, in my opinion. So the Giants offense currently ranks 8th in the NFL in red zone efficiency, TDs. They score a touchdown on a 63.5% rate when in the red zone. Pretty solid. Last year, the Giants were dead last with a 44.7% red zone touchdown rate. In 2020, the Giants were 31st with a 46.3 red zone touchdown rate. Who was the coach in 2021 and in 2020? Who was the offensive coordinator in 2021 and 2020? Jason Garrett, Joe Judge, you guys are frauds. This offense is dealing with less talent than they ever have before, but it's coaching that is finding a way to put this team in position to win. The sign of a great coach is being able to get the most out of the talent that you have, changing your scheme and what you do best to fit the players you have. Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka, they've done that. Salute. Hats off to them. They've been incredible. Also, the fact that this is an awesome stat from Justin Pinnock of Talking Giants, another great Giants YouTube channel. Shout out to him. Justin does great work. He says the Giants' record, so record when the Giants turned the ball over, they're 3-4-1. The record when the Giants did not turn the ball over, 5-1. Record when the Giants won the turnover battle, 6-1. And the record when the Giants lost the turnover battle, 1-4. What does this tell you? When the Giants don't turn the football over, they're going to win the football game. You do it one more time, you win, and you are in. I just love saying that. But seriously, huge credit to Brian Daboll and to Mike Kafka. Are they limiting this offense? No doubt about it. Is it a very boring and non-explosive offense? Absolutely. But you know what's not boring? 5-1 and 6-1. You know what is boring? A losing record. And a losing record. I've asked for them to, excuse me, Jesus, open up the playbook a little bit. But look, the stats show you, when you take care of the football, the Giants are more than likely going to win the football game. I also wanted to go through the injury report. It is Tuesday. That's when this video is being recorded. The Giants did not have a practice. They held a walkthrough. And even though they held a walkthrough, they still put out an injury report. This was an estimate. That's a projection. That's the word I'm looking for. A projection. Evan Neal has been dealing with a shoulder injury. Bobby Skinner of Talking Giants put out 2 clips on Twitter showing against the Eagles and Washington that he had plays where he ended up holding his left arm. Let's hope he's okay. I think everyone on this list will play this Sunday. Thibodeau's dealing with an elbow injury. I bet that's kind of just precautionary, letting him get some rest. He played a lot of snaps on Sunday. Nick Vannett, the tight end, dealing with the shoulder. And Leonard Williams is dealing with a neck injury. I think all those guys will play. Before we bounce on out of here, I want to ask you this question. Because remember, if the Giants win this weekend, they have a 99% chance to make the playoffs. Who do you got? Type NYG for the Giants, MIN for the Minnesota Vikings. One more. I got one more thing, and this is just me kind of wanting to rant a little bit, but my voice is kind of going, so I can't do it like I want to. Comeback Player of the Year. These are the odds in Vegas. Geno, McCaffrey, Goff, and Barkley. What the hell is Geno coming back from? He was never good. You don't get it. The comeback award is not the most improved player award. He sucked, and now he's good, so he's coming back from sucking, and now he's the favorite. This should be Saquon Barkley's award. What he's done this year compared to the years prior, the injuries, it's incredible. I'd be cool with McCaffrey. He's been dealing with some injuries. I'm even cool with Goff. But Geno? It's a joke. He sucks, and just because he's decent now, he deserves Comeback Player of the Year. I appreciate everyone for joining today's show. Wanted to have a little bit of fun at the end there. I'm excited. This Saturday, Giants-Vikings, you win, and you are in. It's that simple. If you made it this far in the video, comment real one.